Hey guys, it's Michael from eKids, and it's time for our Advent Blocks devotional for December the 10th. So let's check it out. Let's see if we can remember. Now, remember, the reason why we're doing this is we're thinking about Christmas. And the question is, are you excited for Christmas? I mean, I'm excited for Christmas. But the second question is, why? Why are you excited for Christmas? Are you excited for Christmas because of all the presents? Or are you excited about Christmas because you're thinking about Jesus? Because all these people were excited about Jesus coming. I mean, we see Adam and Eve, remember that story? And the story of Noah, the story of Abraham, the story of Hagar, the story of Jacob, Rachel, and Leah. We had the story of Joseph, and the story of Moses and Joshua. And yesterday we talked about a king. We talked about King Saul. And we learned yesterday that Saul, at first, his heart was in the right place. But then later, well, his heart ended up not being in the right place. So things didn't work out so well. But today we have this one. Looks like a crown. So let's figure out what this is all about. All right. So I'll open up the devotional and let's go. December 10th, A Heart Like God's, the story of David from 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, and Psalms, and it's in several chapters. So see? Okay, here we go. The story of David. After King Saul stopped listening to God, God chose someone new. Someone new to be king. He was just a boy, and he wasn't strong or tall like Saul. But he was brave, and much more importantly, he loved to listen to God. God told the prophet Samuel, "Go to Bethlehem. That's where the new king is." So Samuel went to the little town of Bethlehem, to the house of Jesse. You see, Jesse was one of Abraham's children's children. So it made sense that God would choose a king from his family. Jesse had 8 sons, but Jesse thought God would pick the next king based on who was the strongest, who was the tallest and the bravest. So he only brought 7 of his sons to Samuel. They all looked like kings. But God doesn't always pick the people we might think. Sure enough, God didn't choose the oldest son, or the next oldest, or the next. God chose the youngest son? Wow. God chose the youngest son who didn't look like a king at all. His name was David, and he was just a shepherd. I don't pick people the way you do, God said. I'm not looking at how strong or tall David is. I am looking at David's heart to see if it looks like mine. So Samuel, to everyone's surprise, poured oil on David's head, which was a special sign that David was God's chosen king. And God made David 2 promises. First, God promised that one of David's great-great-great-grandchildren would be a king who would bring God back. Second, God promised that as long as David listened to God, God would be with him. As long as he listened. Sure enough, God was with David, and David did many great things. He fought a giant man named Goliath and won. He fought a bear and won. He built a great city to keep God's people safe. He wrote songs that were so popular, everyone sang them. In fact, we still sing some of David's songs today. Even when it was hard, even when David's dad thought he shouldn't be king, even when David had to fight giants and bears and bad guys, God was with David. But David did not always love God well. And because God was looking at David's heart, God knew it. God knew when David stole another man's wife, a woman named Bathsheba. God knew it when David killed Bathsheba's husband. God saw David's heart, and God knew that it was full of sin. David knew his heart was sinful too, so he wrote a special song to God, asking God to make his heart and make his heart and make the wrong things right and the dark things light. It went something like this: God, I've sinned very badly. I've hurt others and you. But I know even now you can make my heart new. Forgive me the wrong things and heal those I've hurt. Make my heart clean and wash away all its dirt. Then he sang a song you might recognize. Because of this sin, God seemed far away. So David and Bathsheba began to hope and to pray. God, will you come back to stay? You know, even in my life, sometimes I feel like I'm close to God sometimes. And sometimes I make mistakes, and sometimes I don't feel like God's anywhere near. You ever feel that way? And all these people we've talked about, they have felt that way. But you know what? They had it worse than we have it, because they didn't have Jesus and we do. So the thing is, we have to turn to God. We need to read, those of you that can read. We need to pray. We need to talk to God. We need to seek God's face and be closer and closer to God. And if we do, then God will come back to stay. God's always ready. He's always there. He's always waiting for you to turn to him. But these people, their experiences were a little bit different. But what we have is we have Jesus. And that's the exciting part. Once we get to Christmas, we can celebrate the fact that we have God and he is here to stay. All right, guys. Well, I love you. I will see you tomorrow. For now, bye.